Welcome. My name's Terry Duenas, and welcome to the Profile Series. I'm sitting in for Linda Sandu, and we're here today to discuss, although we're going to have fun with the discussion, it's a very, very serious topic, and it has to do with scams on the elderly and a variety of things along that line. And I have a great guest with me. He is from the Duenas Police Department, Officer Nick Patsavos. Nick, welcome. It's great to have you here, and thank you for taking your time to come and talk to the folks at home about this.
Thanks for having me.
It's going to be, and I promised him that it would not be a painful interview, that it'll be kind of fun, and to exemplify that, they produced, the Duenas Police Department produced a little short PSA, a little short public service announcement that kind of puts a little humor into the serious business of elderly scams. And it's interesting because the topic of this and to have you come and talk about this is a couple of my older members said you should have Duenas PD on talking about all these scams that are going on, and I didn't realize there was quite that much going on, especially on the Cape. You'd think, no, it's not going to happen here, but that's quite the opposite, right?
Yeah, this is almost like ground zero for scams. We got a very high elderly population here, and all these scam artists are looking for people that are home, people that are elderly, and a lot of our elderly citizens in this country are nice.
Sure, absolutely.
So they're not going to be hanging up the phone. They're going to want to listen to the person on the other line, and we're trying to maybe make our elders not so nice. That's my goal.
That's going to be a tough one, but it's definitely, it makes sense. They should definitely be aware that these things are going on. If somebody feels they've been scammed, do they call you? I mean,
some do. From what I understand, a very high percentage of scam victims do not report it. You know, they're embarrassed.
Sure.
They don't tell their family. A lot of times, if they do report to us, I have called like a family member, and you know, it's embarrassing for the elder, but I want to make sure you know, the family is aware of the situation, so it doesn't happen anymore. It's difficult.
What type of scams have we seen on the Cape? I realize there must be all kinds of different things, but what have we seen on the Cape? And then kind of fill us in on what's out there.
Everything we see on the Cape is going on everywhere nationally. One of the ones that we see is we did a video back in 2011. Amy Davies produced it. A couple of our volunteers, Nancy Baudet, Jim Flaherty, and Officer J.C. Peters was in the production. I play the bad guy in both scenarios, and we just wanted to educate the citizens that these scams are going on, and we tried to add some humor to it, so it kind of sticks in people's minds. One is called the grandmother scam, where a person gets a phone call, and on the other line, the phone might sound muffled, but the bad guy on the other line will pose as a granddaughter or a grandson and say that they're in jail and they need money for bail. And a lot of times they'll say they're in a foreign country. And you know, the elder will get nervous and will send the money on Western Union. But everyone's information's out there so readily via Facebook, all these other white pages and other sites that you see on the internet, that I could see who is related to you.
Sure.
And you could see who is related to me, and that's how they get the names.
And I absolutely, it makes perfect sense, because if somebody's going to go through that and to try to get the connection, and a kid's posted, I've gone down to Puerto Vallarta for spring break. Oh, great. Well, that leaves it wide open. Little Johnny got thrown in jail in Mexico. Send $5,000.
Well, if you got like 6, 7 grandkids, you're not going to know where they all are at all times.
No, absolutely.
And you know, it's playing on emotion. It really is playing on emotion, and sometimes you get tunnel vision and you're focusing on just the facts, and that's where some of our elders, and actually not just our elders, have been tripped up by this. We had a gentleman that was got a phone call saying his brother was in an accident, and the bad guy was calling, say, we had an altercation after the accident, and now I have your brother at gunpoint, and you need to send $450 Western Union to this address. The money was sent, and we realized it was sent to Puerto Rico. This gentleman came into the station. He was sweating. He was so nervous. He legitimately thought that this happened, and it was a scam. And by the time we tried to stop it with the Western Union, it was too late. It was almost instant. Someone was waiting on the other line for that money.
That's unbelievable. And you know, it does seem like something, if you heard that, it would stress you out right off the bat, and you'd say, well, yeah, I better do this, or my brother could be killed.
Right.
I can see that really plays on the emotion. What other types do we see or that are going on nationally?
The other one we did in the video is a foreign lottery scam. So if you get anything like this saying you've won money from another country and you just have to send money to release the money, so you receive it.
You've won money.
So to get the money, you got to send money, which logically makes no sense. And also, it's illegal to play a foreign lottery, so they're all a scam.
Oh,
so we do see that quite a bit. And in the video, the victim said she didn't have, enough money. So I said there was a deal this week, and the costs got reduced. And I was actually in a house once trying to help a woman that was repeatedly getting scammed. And she said she didn't have enough money, and the bad guy actually said, "Oh, well, it's actually lower today."
You can. It's on sale today. We can scam you for less.
We have a citizen in town that was probably taken in aggregate over multiple years, a couple $100,000.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That is phenomenal.
It's unbelievable.
Right there. Well, why don't we just take a minute and we're going to roll that video in and watch that. So, take a look. This was produced in 2011. By the Duenas PD. Take a look.
Hello?
Is this Ivana Ripoff?
Yes, it is.
Congratulations, Miss Ripoff! You won $4 million in overseas lottery!
I did?
I'm a lawyer from Dewey, Screwham and Howe. To claim your prizes, you need to pay some customs and taxes to get the money released. There's a Western Union right up the street from your house. Can you wire me $1,000?
Oh, I don't have $1,000.
Well, hey, today this is special. All you need is $500.
Well, in that case, I will send it to you right away.
Hello?
Grandpa?
Sammy.
I got in an accident in Canada. Can you talk to the jailhouse lawyer?
Hello, this is Mr. Scamington from Dewey, Screwham and Howe. Sam needs $3,000 for bail. Can you send $3,000 for bail to me?
Of course, anything for Sammy. I don't know where I'm going to come up with it, but I will try. Hello?
Grandpa?
Sammy.
Hey, I got your money. Thank you.
Well, as you can see, that's a humorous look at a very serious problem. If somebody feels that they've been scammed, whether it's over the phone or in a letter, via the mail, if they give you a call, will you come out and listen or take some information?
We will. We'll take a report, and then also we'll try to offer some advice for further scam prevention. And then the other thing is we'll tell you about a website that you're supposed to report it on for the FBI. It's called ic3.gov, and the FBI uses that to consolidate all the information from victims and see if they can solve it. However, very difficult to solve these crimes. We had one, it was a timeshare fraud case where a woman was trying to sell her Hawaiian timeshare. She had to send money, it was like commission or taxes or something like that, to an address in Mexico. She ended up getting scammed out of it. Then when she reported it to us, and we were able to trace this scam timeshare company back to Minnesota. They took over the business, like website and everything, of a business that went out of business a couple years prior. Bloomington, Minnesota, and the FBI raided this huge skyscraper. It was like on the 40th floor, and it was just a like a call center. There was just phones there, and they packed up shop and moved somewhere else.
Boy, you can
So
tell
it was
if they
already
were,
gone.
they're making some money if they can afford to move into a high rise and
Yep.
and set the whole thing up. They're making
They'll just rent out
huge
the
money.
space briefly and then move on.
Wow.
So very difficult to solve, and especially if it's foreign, if the money's gone overseas, there's not much cooperation. I know the Jamaican authorities have cooperated quite a bit over the last few years, so there's been a little bit less scams coming out of Jamaica, but they're popping up in other countries. A lot of these hacking and email and data breaches are coming from a lot of the former Russian republics, from what I understand.
Boy, that's
So
amazing.
it's everywhere.
Well, now you work. Phone scams are pretty obvious. They call you up and do that. Internet scams, email things, those must be a little more difficult for you to follow up on.
I mean, the phone scams are difficult also because the number coming in, you know, they'll spoof another number and it won't even be the number that appears. So,
Wow.
but yeah, everything is very, very difficult to solve. So what we do is we try to prevent it. We've had some success.
Great.
We're just trying to get the information out there so people are aware of what's going on.
Do you work with other agencies on this, on the Cape and national? I mean, you mentioned the FBI.
Yeah, we've had some success working with the FBI. They've been very helpful for
Great.
us. Just as frustrated, and the FBI won't even investigate cases unless there's a loss. So a lot of times we'll have these attempted scams where, you know, it got close, but the person
Sure.
didn't lose any money, and you know, it's just so much of it. The FBI, they don't have the time to do it, but they do consolidate all the information, so they are out there trying to help people.
Excellent.
And-
Well, that's good to know.
The agent I talked to was, you know, he worked very hard on these cases, and he followed it up, going different states, and what they'll do is when you send money to a box, like a post office box,
yeah.
then there might be a homeless person getting maybe $100 to pick it up and send it to another one.
Ah.
So he was telling me that that's actually what was going on. So they'd be chasing people that
A
didn't even
double
know.
tap scam.
Right,
You know?
didn't even know what was going on. And there is one thing also out there is once you get scammed, now it's time to lick your wounds
Yeah.
and move on, because you are going to get calls and emails from agencies that aren't agencies that are scams again, because you'll go on what's called a suckers list.
Ooh.
That gets sold. And that timeshare person I was telling you about had another company that said, oh, I heard you got scammed. I can help you get your money back. That ended up being the same company, fake, I use the
Oh,
word
my
company
goodness.
loosely, trying
Yeah.
to scam her back for double dipping.
Wow. That's some. The criminals move one step ahead of the game all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That must be the difficult part in trying to find these folks. In addition to phone scams, mail scams, email stuff, what other things, is there anything that people should look for, maybe that may be a one-on-one kind of thing where,
Yeah, we 2 weeks ago we had 2 people walk up to a woman's door saying that they were from the IRS and they were doing an audit or whatever.
Yep.
That was not true. We followed up with the IRS.
oh really?
We try to educate people from door-to-door solicitations on what to do. First of all, in the town of Dennis, you have to register with the police department if you're going to solicit door-to-door. The other thing is, I always advise people to keep their storm door locked. So if they open up the main door,
Sure.
they can still talk to the person and be nice and all that, and then send the person on their way. Because once the person's inside the house, they're acting like a salesperson. They're very pushy. They know what to say, and
Absolutely.
they could scam you into a driveway scam, or we have a lot of like landscaping type. You know, I'll rake your leaves, and they rake a few leaves and take off.
Absolutely.
So don't let anyone into your house. Keep the storm door shut. But most of the scams we see are over the phone, probably more than the internet.
Amazing. That is phenomenal. It's interesting because it seems like the door-to-door scams would be something that if you're gonna get somebody at home, you're gonna get an elderly person at home who, you know, that they would be there and ready to go. I mean, oh, let me do something. Let me rake those leaves and just pay me now so I can.
And a lot of it's out of intimidation.
Sure.
You know, so we have had that, you know, with some of the yard raking or.
That is phenomenal.
But those are smaller scale losses, per se, than what we're seeing over the phone.
Beautiful. How can people protect themselves, or what should they do if they feel they've been scammed? I mean, certainly call and report it. And it's interesting, it made me think when you said that if you are going to solicit door-to-door in the town of Duenas, you have to register. So a legit door-to-door person, you guys know
Yes.
that they're out there canvassing a neighborhood.
They'll give us the name and, you know, phone number and the vehicles they're driving.
Great.
So
that if somebody feels that they have been hit up, they can kind of call and say, "Hey, do you have the ABC, you know, company
yes.
out on the street?" Great. That's an interesting thing to know. And what else should elders and the citizens in the town of Duenas know about scams that they should be aware of?
Quite simply, don't pick up the phone ever unless you know who's calling you. So caller ID is a must, absolute must. So if you don't know the number, I do it at home, I don't pick up the phone unless I know who's calling me. That's number one. Number two, if you're getting repeated phone calls from certain numbers and you don't want that person calling you anymore, most of the providers, all you have to do is pick up the phone, hit *60, and that turns a call blocking feature on. So if you're getting an annoying phone call. And then you just follow the prompts. The other thing is to get on the do not call registry, but that's going to block you from getting calls from legitimate companies, which would be good also. That will reduce some of the call volume, but the bad guys do not care about the do not call registry.
they can skip that one
yeah,
easy. Yeah,
so that's not going to help with that. Basically, don't answer the phone. It's a new way of thinking, is don't answer the phone.
And that's hard for a lot of folks my age and older. We go, the phone rings, I got to answer it.
Yeah.
You know, now the kids all say, I'm not going to answer the landline. Nobody I want to talk to calls me on the landline anyway.
My dad would be at my house, and the phone was ringing. He'd say, "You got to get that." Like, no, I don't.
He's going crazy. What?
The other thing is, too, if you get, this is important, this is something new going on. I don't really know how the scammers make money on it, but it can cost you dearly. If you get a call on your cell phone, you don't recognize the number, do not call that number back. It's called a one ring scam. And what happens is if you call that number back, you could get charged for international call, and you can get charged for the minutes. So we haven't seen this yet that we know of, but it's something that, you know, we're trying to skate to where the puck is going and let people know about it.
Great, yeah.
So if you get a call on your cell phone, you don't know the number, do not call it back.
It's amazing. It's amazing technology that the scammers are using, and it's very difficult for us to be one step ahead of that.
It is.
For you as the police department who is protecting us. So I think that's great. Officer Nick, thank you very much for coming. We absolutely appreciate this part of your job, the public information, the public education, and we hope that you'll come back. And I hate to hit you up on air, but hopefully we can get you to come back and do this on an ongoing basis about things that our police department really wants the general public to know, to make them safer, to make them more secure. So it'd be great. Would you do that?
Absolutely. It's all about prevention. Most people think of police as, solving the crime. That's hard. That's hard. Solving a lot of crimes is hard. But
I can imagine.
Preventing, if we can prevent as much as we can.
Prevention's way easier than catching the
Way easier than stopping a
bad
Jamaican
guys.
scam.
There is too many of them out there.
There are.
For our department to go with, even on the national basis.
Yes.
Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck, and if you're watching at home, be aware of the phone scams. I think it's great advice. Don't answer your phone. They'll call back if it's somebody you want to really talk to. Officer Nick, thank you.
Thank
we
you.
Appreciate it. Join us next time on the Profile Series.